Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Hope y'all have your Valentines picked out and you're all excited. Good morning, you guys. So, what I wanted to do is go over some stuff with you guys that we had missed, but I need a little bit of help. There is a specific pretrial hearing that I'm looking for. It took place September 2022. It is where the forensic pathologist testifies. I'm having the most difficult time finding that. No matter how I search it, it's not been easy. So if you guys have that, if you could email it to me, I don't want to. Let me see. Let me. Wonder if I type in here if Nightbot will pick it up. Let's see. If I have to type it in YouTube, let's see. Let me see what happens when I do that. Anyway, because I wanted to talk to you guys about that, but no, don't fear. I have other stuff for us to watch. I really wanted that testimony because I wanted to talk about it with you guys, but I do have some stuff for us to watch now. One of the things I wanted us to watch is this. Hang on a second. Bruh, come on. Just calm down, YouTube. Don't be starting so soon. I wanted us to watch this explanation from the prosecutor about why they didn't seek the death penalty with Megan in her case. I'm kind of curious about it too because I had made some guesses and I haven't watched it yet, but I saw it. So I wanted to play that for you guys. We're just going to wait. Also, let me open up another tab so that I can keep the live stream of us that's day 6. That's not what I want. Okay. Law and crime. I'm just going to keep it up in the background so that I know should there be a verdict returned. I believe that they give everybody, the public and the attorneys and everyone, like, I don't know, at least a half an hour. So let me say hi to you guys. Good morning, Melissa. Good morning, preschool granny. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Shmita. Let's see. There's me. Good morning, boss lady. Chick Tracy, Mrs. Troy, Allison. Good morning. Good morning, Ellie. Or Elle. No, it is Ellie. Good morning, AMK Lynn, Chick Tracy. I don't want to miss Nitka Ditka. Margie, good morning. Good morning, Scott. I need to change the description. Good morning, Pointer Lover. Good morning, Diop. 444. Good morning, Megan. Good morning, No Madness. Good morning, Nightbot. Good morning, Angel. I think I got all of you guys. Good morning, Call Me Sadie. Good morning, the Tinkerbell wannabe. Kawaii Trash. Tosh, sorry. Good morning, Aries Girl. Hey, Jude. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, David. Good morning, Gloria. We do not have a verdict yet. I need to change the title. I will do that just momentarily, but I cannot believe I did it. I was trying so hard not to do it, Tosh. I've tried to do it again. That's twice now. Send help, y'all. It's going to be one of those days. Oh, thank you, Nitka Ditka. I appreciate that. So we don't have a verdict yet, but don't you guys worry. I have the live stream with Verdict Watch going in the background. Should there be a verdict, we will absolutely, definitely watch it. Hold on a minute. Chelsea said, did you hear they're not going to have audio on during the verdict read? No, I haven't heard that, and I kind of wonder if anyone else, if the media, Court TV, Law and Crime, if they heard that because they're still on verdict watch. Um, and I feel like that would be something that they would be aware of. Mac, nobody is interested in your opinion at 8:19 a.m., sir, because all you're doing is being mad about the fact that that there's a hole in the food that you created. He wants me to go over there and touch his food, and I'm not going to. He wants me to move. It's a gravity feeder. He could totally do it himself. He just wants me to do it. And I'm not going to do it because it's the hole that he created. So if your blood sugar is low, Mac, it is due to the hole that you created in the food. And again, I want to remind everybody that this is the type of professionalism that you will only get here at the Ward Case Studies. Let me see who else is live with this, because I know that, let me see. Yeah, because even WCYB is live with it, with the jury watch or the jury deliberations verdict watch. And so yeah, I feel like if they weren't going to play the audio, I feel like the press would know. So nope, not today. You heard that as well. All right. Well, let's just go over here to the let's go over here to Google, and let's see. I'll just type in. Let's try this. An hour ago. Let's see. That's a day ago. Well, let's see what they said an hour ago. Certainly, that would be. Mac, please. Yeah, I mean, this was just an update an hour ago from, what is this? What am I even looking at? Oh, WJHL. And they just said, the jury in Megan Boswell's trial will continue to deliberate Thursday. The jury was briefly called into the courtroom Thursday morning before being sent back to resume deliberating. On Wednesday, the prosecution and defense each gave their closing arguments. There's a link there to the closing arguments. The jury was charged by the court to deliver a verdict on Boswell after a week-long trial that saw more than 30 witnesses take the stand. Boswell herself did not testify, talks about what she's charged with. Also, the jury could find Boswell guilty of lesser charges than the ones levied against her. If she's found guilty on any of the 3 murder charges, the jury will be tasked with deciding her sentence in a second trial that would begin immediately after. Prosecutors previously informed the court that they were seeking a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. So I am not sure where that is coming from, but thank you, Gloria. I appreciate that. Yes, call me Sadie. That is among the things that we are going to be playing this morning. Goddess says, I heard the same, no audio for the verdict because the jury doesn't want their voices heard. Well, here's the deal. That ship has sailed along with the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria because the judge read out the last names of the people who will be serving as alternate jurors. So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that would be Nitka Ditka, babe, I hope that your kitty is found soon, babe. Um, I know you're worried. Um, I forgot. Well, hey, Tasha. So, yes, I did see that. We're going to play that. Let's go ahead and play this one right here. Let me share the screen. Also, it's freaking cold here. It's like 19 degrees. All right. I don't like it. I'm not pleased with it at all. Big mad. Just so y'all know. No me gusta. I don't know why I have two streams showing here because I don't need two of them. All right. So here we go. This is prosecutors explaining why they didn't seek the death penalty for Megan Boswell.
Our top story tonight, a 19-year-old woman accused of murdering her 15-month-old daughter could spend the rest of her life in prison if convicted. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Sarah Diamond.
And I'm Josh Smith. Good evening. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation issued the Amber Alert for Evelyn Boswell on February 19th of last year. Her body was found in March on a family member's property. Well, today, the Sullivan County District Attorney General in the case made an announcement. He said that his office will seek a sentence of life imprisonment without parole if Megan Boswell is found guilty in the death of her daughter, Evelyn Boswell.
Megan faces 2 counts of felony murder, aggravated child abuse, aggravated child neglect, and other charges. News Channel 11's Kaylin Cluck spoke with attorneys for the case today, and she explains why prosecutors are not pursuing the death penalty.
State prosecutors say their decision to seek life imprisonment without parole for Megan Boswell is based on legal precedent.
We have filed a notice to seek a sentence of imprisonment for life without the possibility of parole.
At her virtual court hearing, Megan Boswell learned she would not face the death penalty if found guilty for the murder of her daughter Evelyn. Sullivan County District Attorney General Barry Staubis believes this was the correct decision.
Because of as I said, a prior decision by the Tennessee Supreme Court that says if you have an 18-year-old defendant without a record and only one aggravating factor, then it's disproportionate and it's not a valid death penalty in that case. That's what they decided.
Staubis is referring to the State versus Godsey case, which played out in the Tennessee Supreme Court in 2001. Originally, Bobby Godsey was convicted by a Sullivan County jury of first-degree felony murder for killing an infant. He received a death sentence. An appeals court later ruled against this sentence. Godsey was eventually sentenced to life without parole.
I'm very familiar with the case because I assisted in the trial of that case.
Staubis also said he spoke with members of the Boswell family before making the decision as well. Megan's appointed attorney, Brad Sproles, said he wasn't surprised the state would not pursue the death penalty.
Because there's some case law that would work against them.
News Channel 11 asked Sproles if the decision was a relief for Megan.
Probably. Yeah, I'm sure she's not happy about the possibility of spending the rest of her life in prison, though.
Megan's next court date is May 14th. By then, both Staubis and Sproles say they hope to have gone through the vast amount of case evidence. Sproles will have the opportunity to file motions ahead of the case, potentially heading to trial. Most court documents for Megan's case remain sealed, including Evelyn's autopsy. In Sullivan County, Kaylin Cluck, News Channel 11.
Tonight, we're getting a look at what is our top story tonight.
Oh my
a 19-year-old woman.
Stop it. What are you doing, YouTube? Bruh. All right. So the next one we are going to watch is Megan Boswell's attorney explaining why she didn't take the stand. And then also the next one after that, we're going to watch why no witness testified. All right. So here we go.
Jurors have began deliberation in the murder trial of Megan Boswell. Megan Boswell, the only person who faces any charges in the death of her baby daughter, Evelyn. Those charges include first-degree murder and felony murder. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel joins us now live from Sullivan County with defense attorney Gene Scott. Ansley?
Yeah, Casey, I'm standing by here with Megan Boswell's attorney, Gene Scott. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us right now.
Glad to.
Well, first off, this morning, a lot of folks were curious as to whether or not Megan Boswell was going to take the stand herself. Talk to me a little bit about why she did not.
We gave it a lot of thought and were at one point leaning toward doing it, but after the medical examiners testified yesterday, I don't feel the state's proved their case, at least as the cause of death, and we don't feel it was necessary.
And I know that right now jurors are deliberating, so talk to me a little bit about what you hope they're really considering right now and really mulling over inside that jury room.
I hope they're considering all the evidence, but in particular, I hope they're considering the testimony from both medical examiners and the fact of the latex gloves found in the trash can with the child that had male DNA on them.
And I know there's been obviously a lot of talk about Hunter Wood here in this, and this morning prosecutors brought forth a piece of paper from the state of Virginia that talked about his involuntary commitment to the mental institute there. But let's talk a little bit about why you want his name to be said in this trial.
I don't particularly. The only reason his name come up was because that's what Megan talked to Brian Fraley about in her interview. So that's why his name is in this trial. That's in evidence. And the thing about that interview is she was they initially charged her with a false report in that count. They dismissed that count. And so it's our position that her interview with the TBI was truthful.
And let's talk a little bit about.
All right, we're going to stop right there. You know damn right well why they dismissed that charge, because you got up on the very first day and you guys had an exchange about it between the defense and the state, okay? And they dropped that charge because he cited that it would be hearsay if Megan didn't testify. Now, I think that quite frankly, the prosecution was just like, bruh, we can't. It's, whatever. She's got 11 billion other charges against her of false reporting. They just didn't want to fight that one. Quite frankly, they just didn't want to hash it out, I think, because at the end of the day, what he's essentially saying here, which I am completely I'm not surprised that he's saying it, because obviously, but I find it completely preposterous. Okay. That he thinks genuinely that because they dismissed this charge, and the charge had to do with Brian Fraley, lying to Brian Fraley, okay, that because the state was willing to dismiss this one charge, that means that they're agreeing that the things that Megan Boswell said in this case are true. Or not in this case. The things that Megan Boswell said in that interview are true. Give me a break, and give the rest of the world a break. I understand that it isn't a defense attorney. It's all attorneys' jobs to defend their client or prosecute the defendant. And that particularly when it comes to defense attorneys, they're not allowed to lie, okay? But they are allowed to use the law and any of its loopholes, or try to create a loophole, because some of the laws are very clear, but some of the laws are subject, well, I suppose if you're an attorney, all of the laws are really subject for interpretation. And so what they really do is argue the interpretation of the laws. Okay. And so at the end of the day, he's arguing semantics, which is a lawyer's job, which is such a conflict for me, because I usually find in everyday life, right, when people are arguing semantics, when you start to argue what the meaning of is, then in a debate, then you've lost, because you're really grasping at straws. But that's a lawyer's job. So I think there are so many things, and it's weird because he's not wrong in a way about Megan Boswell telling the truth in that interview. Okay, we listened to it at the end of yesterday. It was, if you want to go back and watch it for yourselves, it was played. It was the first thing that was played on day 2 of testimony, and it was played by the defense. She did tell some truths in there. All right. What she said was, these are the truths that she told. She told the truth about a half truth about Evelyn being wrapped up in a dark colored blanket, but she used the term swaddled. Okay. We talked about this yesterday. I don't know. I have had 4 children. Okay. And I have 2 nephews. And in that time, so that would mean that I have swaddled a total of 6 babies. Okay. And in all of that time, the many times over the years that I've swaddled those 6 little babies, never once ever have I swaddled them where the blanket is wrapped around their head and their face. Okay. That is improper swaddling. So that part was a lie, but the dark colored blanket was the truth. The other truth that she told was that the outfit that Evelyn was found in. Yes, Evelyn was found in a purple fleece footed PJs with little penguins on it. That is correct. That part she told the truth about, the whole truth. Okay. The third thing that she eventually came around with is that the trash can. So they're asking her, okay, she says that she was in the bedroom. She didn't want to see anything. That she was asked, how did Hunter get Evelyn's body out of the trailer? Okay. So they ask her, it almost sounds like the lyrics or the words to Green Eggs and Ham. Did he take her out in a box with a fox? Did he take her out in a basket? They gave a bunch of things. And eventually Megan comes around to the trash can, and they ask, why does she think it's the trash can? And she says, because ever since that day, the trash can was there before and it hasn't been there since. Okay. So that was, then she also gave the location, not the exact location. She mealy-mouthed around it. Initially, she tried to start with probably under the docks at Hunter's house. Okay. And, and they said, do you know that for a fact? And she says, well, it's a theory that I have. And the detectives are like, we're not in. It's a verdict. It's a verdict.
Look right now inside that courtroom in Blountville as we're waiting on this to come back. Now, we're not exactly sure how this is going to play out. We've been told a couple of things when this verdict is announced. We can tell you we don't believe the judge is going to allow us to hear the jury foreman publishing the verdict. In fact, I think from our understanding, we will have to mute the audio coming from the courtroom. We are going to be able to show you Megan Boswell as that verdict is announced, and then we will, of course, be relaying that to you. Then the judge is going to announce that verbally in the courtroom. We'll see it, so we may see some of the reaction. Our Liam Bridgman is sitting in an adjacent media room where he is watching and is going to be relaying that verdict as it's announced by the jury foreman to our Rebecca Pepin, who's going to join me here on the set in just a little bit as well. But we will be able to relay that to you as this that verdict is announced. So maybe a little different than what you may have been expecting on how this was going to be published once the jury begins to read that. Normally we would hear the foreperson talking and reading the indictment. Now, just to go over what we're looking at, it is a 19-count indictment, which I have here. The first count we're going to hear, that will be first-degree murder, or what we anticipate to hear would be first-degree murder. Then we have two counts, counts 2 and 3, related to felony murder. One of those is related to felony murder in relation to child abuse. The other, felony murder in relation to child neglect. Moving to count 4 is aggravated child abuse. Count 5 in this case is aggravated child neglect. They will go through these one by one, and it's our understanding the jury foreman will publish this to the court. So we'll see this playing out, not able to hear it. Then the judge will announce it to us, but Liam is going to relay that to us so we can tell you as it's announced. Count 6 in this indictment, that is going to be tampering with evidence. Count 7, and this is where we have several of them. Count 7, count 8 and 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 counts of false reporting. There was a count 18 of false report. That one was dropped at the beginning of the trial. So that one will not be, that hasn't been pulled from there. Then count 19, there's abuse of a corpse. And then a count 20 in this, which is technically 19, I guess at this point, it would be failure to report a child death or a death under suspicious or unusual and unnatural circumstances. So it will be a lengthy reading of the verdict. It is in. If you're just joining us here, we're on the air right now on both of our television stations and also streaming online. We have just received word from our Kristen Kwan, who is at the courthouse. She's been following this since.
Hey, just wanted to let you guys know there is a verdict. I've changed the title. If you have a channel and you want, and you know people are anxiously, oh gosh, you guys, there's 101, well now there's 13, but when I looked at first there was 111 people. That's a good number. You know, Allie and I keep track of that. It reminds us of Gannon. So if you have a channel and you want to share this out, I would appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. All right, let's get back to it. We're just tiny seconds behind.
Since the very beginning, since Evelyn Boswell was first reported missing, Kristen has been following along with this, and we do understand that a verdict has been reached. We're waiting on that to come in. There will bring the jury in. It looks like from what we can see, and I don't know if we can pull that up full or not so we can see the courtroom just a little bit better there, but we can see the prosecution is in there as we will look a little bit. Megan Boswell, I do not see at the defense table just yet. I don't see the defense team in there just yet. I see the prosecutors. They are at the table. The bailiff's moving around in there as well. Court staff. Looks like we have one of Megan's defense attorneys is there on part of the team, but Gene Scott and Megan Boswell are not in the courtroom yet. So once the jury announces that they have a verdict, so we could be waiting here for just a little bit as we're waiting for them. Happens. Of course, we're now.
Okay, so I have this turned down so that it's in my ear, so that the minute we can hear the verdict, we'll hear it. I promise. Okay, I'm not gonna, we're not skipping out on it. You're not gonna miss it. I promise. But I just wanted to explain a little bit about what's going on. Evidently, the judge has decided that when the jury foreman reads their verdict, there will be no audio. Okay. And, but we'll hear from the judge. Okay. If they find Megan Boswell guilty on any of the murder charges, okay, there will be a second trial. There will be a penalty phase. Okay. And it is to begin immediately. And now I'm thinking about maybe this is why they are talking about this being a 3-week trial, because if they find her guilty, particularly of first-degree murder, the prosecution is seeking Megan to be punished by life without the possibility of parole. If you're just coming in, the prosecution years ago explained why they weren't seeking the death penalty. And the reason they are not seeking the death penalty in this case is because Megan was 18 years old at the time the crime was committed. She has no prior records, and there's only one aggravating factor. And there is case law in Tennessee with the Supreme Court that says if you have an 18-year-old person committing murder with no record, it is not a death penalty and one aggravating factor, it is not a death penalty qualified case. Okay? So we will have audio. Okay? We will hear the verdict. What we will not hear is the verdict being read from the foreperson. Okay? That's it. That's all. Potentially. We are not, they're hearing different things. So, I mean, if the media is confused, the media, you know what I'm saying? So that's the way that it goes. We're going to have to do what Jen Lute. This is the only time I don't really like this approach, but we have to do it. We're going to have to take a wait and see approach. We just going to have to wait and see about how they handle it. It is what it is. I don't know where Megan is, and I don't know where her attorney is. It's quite possible that the two of them are together, that, he is telling her it was always in the jury's hands. You need to be prepared to accept whatever it is that they decide. Let me cruise on over to another feed to see what's happening. As you guys know, I like to go all over the tubes to find things. Let me see what's going on on Court TV. Let me click Court TV. Let me see if they have audio.
So, is there enough circumstantial evidence to convict on the higher charges? We're not sure. This is up to the jury.
There is no audio, but that's okay because I have it streaming in the background, so I can see it, and I mean I can hear it. It just depends. I just don't know what this judge is going to decide, so we're all just waiting. I would imagine there is Megan's defense attorney. They're a little bit behind. Let me switch over here. Let me share this one instead and listen in the background to the other one because I can quickly switch tabs. I don't know where Megan is. I don't know if she's eating breakfast. I can tell you what she's not doing, and that's looking for a brush or using a brush. Tracy, no. They did not tell us who the bio dad was. Oh, thank you for asking that because while I was washing dishes last night, I had a thought. What if, we will hear from the biological dad during the sentencing phase because as the biological dad of Evelyn Boswell, he would be a victim. And perhaps, can you imagine what a powerful victim impact statement that would be? I didn't even know I was a father until my daughter was murdered by her mother. I have it on, I have both. I have WCYB. I have it on Court TV. I have all of I'm listening to it all. We're just basically waiting for the defendant to be brought in, aka Megan Lying Liar Face, Mayor of Liarsville, Boswell, to come in. And then they'll bring the jury in, and we don't know yet if we will be able to hear the jury foreman actually read the verdict. That doesn't mean we won't hear the verdict. What it means is we'll have to, what will end up happening is, so they'll read the verdict. The jury foreman will read the verdict. And if they don't have audio during that, the judge will then read it. Okay. So we will hear what the verdict is. We just won't hear it being read from the jury foreman. Potentially. No, naughty Yachty, you have not. Wow. Long time no see. I haven't seen you in like 11 billion years. Good to see you. You haven't missed it. We're just waiting for the defendant to be brought in. I don't see Megan Boswell. We're just waiting. Just waiting. I'm so glad all of you guys are here. This has been oh, thank you, Tracy. I appreciate that, babe. All of you guys' help. Just being here. And I want to say thank you on behalf of Mac and Alice as well. Because if I had not streamed this trial, I would have watched this trial. And all the outbursts I had on live stream, well, I would have had those same outbursts, only I would have just been yelling at the TV alone. And sometimes Mac and Alice find that to be jarring when I just have like an audible outburst like that. And they're very grateful that you guys decided to watch this trial with me so that I could express my outbursts and outrage and irritation, agitation, and aggravation to an audience. And I am speaking at a reasonable volume rather than screaming at the TV. They both thank you for that so much. Aw, naughty Yachty, I appreciate that, babe. I've always been her favorite true crime gal. Appreciate that. So, this is going to be a tough one. And I thank you guys very, very much for being here with me. This was a very, very tough trial. And the defense tried every single which way to blame this on anybody other than Megan, which is their job, and I can't get mad at him for it. It's not that I am irritated that they attempted to bring in an alternate suspect, right? Without actually presenting proof. They just hinted at it during cross-examination. There you go. Judge will repeat reading a verdict momentarily. So, let me just turn this a little bit down because they are really talking and it's kind of a distraction. So, apparently yesterday, this is what I think happened, Wendy. Good to see you, by the way. Yes, I know this happened yesterday. At the very end, after the closing arguments were over, okay, the next step was finishing up reading the jury instructions. And then what they do is they draw straws or pick numbers or whatever, and they figure out the 12 people that will actually be deliberating, And then, but what they do is they pick the alternates. So they pick the alternates, and then whoever's left is obviously deliberating. And when they picked the alternates yesterday, the judge said their name in open court, which he has to, but it ended up being broadcast. Their last names were. Oh, thank you so much, Sherry. I appreciate that. Thank you. So I think that the four-person, and rightly so, this is a difficult case. This is an emotional case. And I don't think that the four-person wanted their voice to be recognized. You know how the internet works very quickly. So that's why I think that's what I would suspect. Where is Megan Boswell? I saw Shmita write something in the chat. And also, good morning, everyone that's come in. Good morning. Good morning. It's so good to see all of you guys. I saw Dr. B. I saw Allie Erickson, and I appreciate that so much. all of you guys being here. Let's see, where is this? Hold on, where is Shmita's comment? Because Shmita, oh, here it is. Let's show Shmita's comment. Oh. Bruh. Megan, are you serious with this outfit of the day? A big ass bow and you done brushed your hair for the verdict. You couldn't brush your hair any of the other days of trial, but here you go today. Girl, bye. Schmida says, I hope she's eating a moldy bologna sandwich on stale bread that they dropped on the floor before serving her. I hope, yes. And that there's words in the mayonnaise that's also expired. A bow. A bow, y'all. This is how she comes to court. I think it's safe to say that Megan Boswell makes very, very poor decisions. She's not a good decision maker at all. How in the action, where I need a video. We need a palate cleanser. Let me see what I have over here. I've got a couple.
Shut up, Meg.
Megan, let me just say this to you, lady. I saw how she walked into court and, she'd pulled her sleeves down so they cover up her hands. I hope that what you're covering up is all that damn audacity. I cannot believe this hoe strolled into this courtroom after looking like she just rolled out of her jail bed and showed up to court all of the other days. And she comes today with her hair brushed and wearing a dadgum bow. Queen Bella. She's feeling her inner JoJo Siwa. Well, yikes on bikes. I'm done. I'm completely, Megan, this is why people ain't got nothing for you. It's me. I'm people. All right. All right. Here we go. The verdict is in. The judge is going to talk to the attorneys. I hope they'll have some chicken minis, but none for you, Mr. Scott. Tess says she's trying to give sweet, innocent young lady, but it gives Halloween costume of a haunted doll, in my opinion. Like this was like Annabelle's second outfit. When they make those fancy dolls, they make clothes for them. And this might have been one of the, how they'll have an outfit on in the box and then they come with a second outfit. This is that second outfit. Yeah, Mr. Scott not using his inside voice all day yesterday. So rude. Bieber says, hey, Bieber, good to see you. Girl, she wants her face to be seen. Why today? Lord knows. Lord knows. No idea. She is Bass Ackwards, Gracie. She traded 2 honey buns and 5 ramen for that bow. 2 honey buns, 5 ramen, and her turn at toilet talking. All right, what is happening? This is like the worst part. See, to me, Tracy says she is looking a bit worried. To me, I see, to quote my Beastie Boys, she looks like cool as a cucumber in a bowl of hot sauce. Honestly, that's what she looks like to me. She strolled in there like she ain't got a care in the world. She strolled in there the way Lori Daybell strolled into court at her first appearance after her extradition to Arizona. Remember how Lori strolled in with a bounce in her step? Girl, bye. And Sherry, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Welcome to the ward. Thank you for supporting me. And it's from So What You Want. Well, I'm as cool as a cucumber in a bowl of hot sauce. Guarantee you. That's part of it. I don't know where the Beastie Boys came up with that, but thank goodness they did. All right, here we go. Any minute now, we'll be hearing it. I did love Louie, but thank you for coming in here and letting us know just in case. I appreciate that. Love Louie says they aren't turning on the sound while the verdict is read, so the jurors' voices aren't heard, but we'll repeat the verdict after. Not sure if you knew that. I appreciate that. Oh, can you even imagine if she were to give a Lori Vallow-esque allocution? Bruh. She doesn't. That smile is gone. I'm guessing it didn't go her way. They're polling the jury. Hey, good Nunya, good to see ya. Yeah, they don't. The jurors don't want their voices heard during the verdict, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Our jury system is supposed to be private, and it's not really private, but anonymous. And what I really hope for the jury is, I don't know how Tennessee does this. Maybe Bieber knows, but in Colorado, the jurors were offered therapy because of that. The jurors are offered therapy after they serve their jury duty. And we learned that, yeah, it ain't good, y'all. Not for her. It's good for Evelyn, not good for Megan. But I'm curious if Tennessee offers that, because we didn't get to see the pictures, but the description of the pictures. Nick Kaditka, I can't highlight that, but I hope so, Bieber. Bieber says, I've never heard of that, but it makes sense. They probably have a round of questions and options for the jurors. I hope that they do. I really hope that they do have therapy, because looking at those pictures had to be very, very difficult. Okay, Ashley, so when this happened in 2020, she was 18. So 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. She's 23 now, or about to turn 23. She will be 23 in 2025. Sadie, this just in. There is an additional charge for the bow. I can't wait to hear what's happening. It's still muted. So, I mean, there were a lot of charges that they have to read, so it's going to be a minute. Basically, back in, did you get your synopsis or did you want me to give you a synopsis? Oh, I think you're, okay. So here's the synopsis. Back in 2020, February 18th of 2020, Megan Boswell's father, Tommy Boswell, reported to CPS that Evelyn Boswell, Megan's daughter, who would have been 15 months at the time, he reported to CPS a lack of supervision and physical abuse, which in turn caused CPS to go and find Megan Boswell. Megan Boswell then admits that Evelyn Boswell has actually been missing since December of 2019. So then it becomes all hands on deck. Megan Boswell lied her entire face off. She said that the baby was with the presumed, or the person that Megan named as the biological father of Evelyn Boswell, which was Ethan Perry. Problem was, Ethan Perry was in the military at the time and would have been living in the barracks. So no, he did not have the baby. Then a few days later, she said that her mother actually had come over and picked the baby up to babysit and had been gone with her this entire time somewhere in Mendota. Then she blamed her current boyfriend at the time in 2019, Hunter Wood, who she worked with at the chicken shack. His father owned the chicken shack. She blamed him. She said that he inadvertently rolled over on Evelyn when they were all in the same bed and smothered her. And then he is the one who disposed of Evelyn's body. On March 6th, Evelyn's body was found. It was found on Megan Boswell's father, Tommy Boswell's property, in a trash can, in a trash bag, upside down, wrapped with Evelyn's body was wrapped tightly in a blanket. The blanket was covering her entire body, but including her face, and also wrapped with layers of foil in covering her face so tightly that you could see the impression of Evelyn's face through the foil. And that's why we are here. Guilty of first-degree murder. My God. She's going to get, definitely going to get life without the possibility of parole. Wow. I just want them to, I want to hear what the judge has to say, because I want to know what to do for scheduling for sentencing, because yes, I will be streaming that. If they go 27 hours straight in a sentencing hearing, I will stream for 27 hours straight. Wow. I'm so glad, though, that the jury got it right, because in my opinion, based on the evidence presented in court, Megan definitely showed many instances of premeditation, and therefore first-degree murder was the appropriate verdict, in my opinion. No, K-Bear's mama, I don't know what, I'm waiting to hear. In this case, the jury will be the ones deciding Megan Boswell's sentencing. So I have to wait until they allow audio in the court to hear how that scheduling will be moving forward. I'm not exactly sure. Michelle, yes, we will be hearing the verdict. Yes, we did get a verdict. We will be hearing. We did get a verdict. We will be hearing the verdict. The thing is that the court bars the audio of the foreperson. So what's going to happen is the judge will repeat the verdict shortly. So we did get a verdict. Yes, she was 13 months old when she actually was murdered. She was reported missing. When she was reported missing, she would have been 15 months old. However, she didn't make it to her 15-month-old. She didn't make it to 15. Ashley, we will honestly, the state put forward the theory that essentially when Megan met Hunter and she thought Hunter had money, that she was going to have this fantastic life and that she wanted to move forward footloose and fancy free without her child. Based on all the things that we heard during the trial, I don't think that was the true reason. I think the truth of it is something happened after Megan Boswell took Evelyn to go see Ethan Perry in Texas. And when I say took Evelyn to go see, I mean at some point, Ethan Perry told Megan where he was, and then Megan proceeded to show up. And they had a visit where they just argued and fought. I have a sneaking suspicion that one of the arguments that they had was that was over paternity. And I think that that visit was it's not Ethan's fault. It's not. But I think whatever happened during that visit was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I think, quite frankly, Megan got pregnant because she wanted out of her home growing up. I think that she thought that it would tie a man to her and that she would have like this fairy tale thing.
You are guilty. In count 2, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of first-degree murder and the perpetration of a felony, it's a judgment of this court you are guilty. In count 3, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of first-degree murder and the perpetration of a felony, it's a judgment of this court you are guilty. In count 4, a judgment of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child abuse, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 5, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of aggravated child neglect, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 6, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of tampering with evidence, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 7, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 8, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 9, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 10, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 11, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 12, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. Count 13, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. Count 14, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 15, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 16, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 17, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of false report, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In count 19, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of abuse of a corpse, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. And in count 20, a jury of your peers having found you guilty of failure to report a death under suspicious, unusual, or unnatural circumstances, it's a judgment of the court you are guilty. In counts 4 through 20, the jury did not assess a fine, so there'll be no fine assessed in those counts. now. We'll be in recess about 15 minutes.
Thank you. Court stands in recess.
There you have it. Guilty on all of the counts, and she did have to hear it twice. Now, obviously, they're going to stand in recess, and I'm going to wait because you really thought coming in here with that Dambo was a good idea. Girl, bye. We'll come back because what I think is going to happen next is probably some explanation of what comes next, right? Some type of scheduling. Because I don't know. I don't know if they're going to go completely right now directly into sentencing. I just don't know. They're allowed to read victim. Okay, let me look this up. Oh, I put too many S's and not enough E's. Oh, and I put too many N's. All right, so the AI overview is this. Let's see what it says. In Tennessee, juries determine sentences for all offenses that can result in imprisonment unless the defendant waives their right to the jury or to a jury. How jury sentence? The jury considers statutory aggravating circumstances and mitigating circumstances. The jury may sentence a defendant to life in prison without parole or life in prison. The jury specifies the aggravating circumstances proven beyond a reasonable doubt. The jury returns its verdict to the judge on a form provided by the court. Jury instructions. The trial judge instructs the jury to consider statutory aggravating and mitigating circumstances. The judge includes these instructions in the oral charge and in writing for the jury's deliberation. Tennessee, the guidelines are Tennessee uses a 3-tiered sentencing system for felonies. Most states do. For example, Class A felonies have a sentencing range of 40 to 60 years. The defendant can waive their right to a jury determination, and the prosecutor can agree to the waiver. Let's see. Do juries hear victim impact statements in Tennessee? Obviously, there's not. Okay, here we go. Okay. It's I wrote, do juries hear victim impact statements in Tennessee? The AI overview says this. No, juries in Tennessee do not hear victim impact statements, but judges do consider them when sentencing convicted offenders. Explanation. Victim impact statements are written or oral statements that describe the impact crime on a victim. In Tennessee, judges consider victim impact statements when sentencing convicted offenders who have caused physical, emotional, or financial harm to a victim. The district attorney's office can help victims make an oral statement at the sentencing hearing. The probation officer can submit a written victim impact statement as part of the pre-sentence report. The judge will decide the defendant's sentence based primarily on the pre-sentence report. This is not right. The Supreme Court case, Payne versus Tennessee, 1991, allowed victim impact statements to be introduced in capital sentencing hearings. However, the Supreme Court has also ruled that victim impacts and evidence cannot explicitly ask a jury to impose the death penalty sentence. I don't know. Let's see. Let me read this. The Tennessee Attorney General's Office. Okay. Not helpful. I'm looking, you guys. AI has failed me, and I am very upset. Let me see this. All right. After the defendant's guilty plea is accepted, or he or she is found guilty after the trial, the judge decides what happens, which is not okay. The defendant may be sent to prison, suspended, blah, 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 blah. Okay. This is the best that I can understand is that what will happen is there's always an opportunity for victim impact statements. So what I think is going to happen is that they can be, it says that they can be submitted to the probation officer in charge of the pre-sentencing investigation. So perhaps what will happen is what they'll do is but that doesn't make sense because, hold on a minute. Oh, this is for a plea agreement reached. This is for a trial. But that's not helpful. Just a minute. Grand jury indictment arraignment report. There's no plea agreement. It doesn't talk anything. It doesn't explain it on the DA's website. That information is only if there's a plea deal reached. If there's a plea deal reached, and then I don't think that she's going to get life. I don't think she's going to have an opportunity for parole. So I'm not the answer to you guys' questions is about victim impact statements is I don't know. I don't actually know how it will work. I know in Tennessee. Now I have seen in other states that victim impact statements are heard by the jury. I just don't know how Tennessee does it. So we'll just all have to wait and see. We're about to, well, I think we're all going to learn something together. Thank you, Scara. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. What do you mean, would anyone show up? Well, I think that certainly, now there's been talk about whether or not Megan has had family in the courtroom, okay? I will tell you this. Tommy Boswell was a witness, okay? After he was finished testifying, he was not released from his subpoena. Therefore, he could not be in the gallery and witness the trial. He could not watch the trial streaming, and he obviously couldn't discuss his testimony with anybody until he was released from his subpoena. So I would think that Tommy Boswell would show up, and this is going to be interesting because he would be essentially in the same position as Billy Joe Howell was with Leilani Simon, right? Technically, because he is he is Evelyn's grandfather, right? He is a victim of Megan. But I'm curious how it would go because not only is he a victim of Megan's, Megan is his daughter. And that's an incredibly difficult position to be in. I don't know. hope I never have to find out how that feels. Okay, coming up next, the sentencing phase. Here you guys go. Evidently, Court TV knows all of the things. Thank you, Court TV. Shout out to Court TV. For those of you guys who left, you might want to come back. You might want to go get your friend, y'all, who left, because we're about to apparently get into the sentencing phase. So here we go. While that is occurring, so Stitch says, defense should have put on a defense. Crazy in a first-degree murder case and didn't put on anything. What did they expect? Though I think they did give reasonable doubt. We just aren't as ignorant as Florida jurors. Yay. You know, I think that I'm going to find that Vinnie Politan interview with the judge, because I didn't, because he really explains why the jury why the jury had the verdict that they had. And I think that if you hear it from the judge himself, it will give you pause. I'm not saying it'll change your mind. I just want you guys to hear it. I will find it. Obviously, I have time today. Let me go look. Let's see. This is interesting. Because there have been so many comparisons to the Megan Boswell trial and Casey Anthony, let's hear what this says, what they say here. Okay.
Boswell is accused of murdering her 15-month-old baby, Evelyn, and many people watching this case are comparing it to another very high-profile case, the case against Casey Anthony. Two young moms accused of killing their own beautiful young daughters. Joining me now, the judge who presided over Casey Anthony's trial, retired Chief Judge Belvin Perry Jr. Judge, good morning to you. Do you feel that there's anything with the Boswell case that makes you hearken back to your time presiding over the Anthony case?
Julie, yes, it does. You have both defense attorneys trying to make lemonade out of lemon. You have them casting dispersions on different people, pointing the finger. They're pointing the finger at Megan Boswell's boyfriend. They are even pointing the finger at the method of indictment in this case, talking about three separate theories of this homicide, which is commonplace when you can have multiple theories. The attack on the scientific evidence. So yes, they are very similar, but in this particular case, Evelyn had a mountain of lies. Casey had only one lie.
That's interesting, Judge. Thank you for that. In looking back at it, similarities somewhat in the ages, but not exact. We pulled some fast facts just quickly to go through. Casey Anthony, as you know, Judge, 22 when she was arrested, charged with Kaylee's murder. This is 2008. Kaylee's remains found 6 months after she was reported missing in a trash bag in a wooded area not far from the Anthony's home. And As you know, Judge Casey Anthony was acquitted in 2011. Megan Boswell was younger, 18, when she was arrested. A shorter window of time. Reported Evelyn missing at first, and then she was found just a couple months later. It wasn't as long of a search. And Evelyn's body found wrapped in a fleece blanket, but also in a trash bag like little Kaylee in a shed on Megan's father's property. Judge, we heard defense counsel.
Okay, so Stitch says, I remember it differently. Casey lied multiple times. I think what they're talking about is that Megan told multiple stories. She came up with multiple lies about where Evelyn was. It started with Evelyn, that Evelyn was with Ethan. Then it became her mother had her. Then it became Hunter rolled over on her. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, and I may not be, please correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but Casey Anthony had, during the investigation, one lie, and that was that Kaylee was with Zanny the nanny. The story changed during trial. So I think that is what the judge is referring to, is that yes, Casey Anthony, every single time she went into the to speak with police, she lied her face off, but the story of where she said Kaylee was never changed until trial, whereas Megan's did change. And I think that that's what they're talking about, that Casey only ever said that she was with Zanny the nanny.
Yesterday in opening statements, essentially acknowledging a couple things, that Megan Boswell may not have been the best mother, but she had it tough growing up. And he acknowledged the disposal of baby Evelyn's body. He didn't acknowledge anything in between, just said that, yes, she may have had something to do with that, but you can't call her a murderer. Tell me, Judge, should they have given up that much at the outset?
He had to give something up in the beginning to say that she was guilty of something other than the ultimate crime of murder. So that can be viewed as a very tactical, smart move on his part, saying, well, she may be innocent of a lot of things, but she's guilty of this. Don't make her a murderer. And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to deflect away from the evidence in this particular case, because in this particular case, you do have a solid autopsy, but he's going to attack that also during his cross-examination.
Judge, thank you for that. I want to play a clip for you now of Megan Boswell talking to our affiliate WJHL. And this was in the early stages of the investigation, and baby Evelyn had not been found at this point.
I've told TBI where to find her in Mendota. My mom took her to a campground and a silver camper, and if they don't go tonight, I'm going to go find her myself. We went to go out to eat, and then my mom came and got her.
Okay, so Call Me Sadie says, Payne versus Tennessee in 1991, the Supreme Court rules that the jury can hear victim impact statements in capital cases during sentencing. But isn't Megan's not a capital? Because she's not subject to the death penalty? Let's see, what is Mama 4 asking? Let me see here. If Casey were to come out and admit she did it, can they recharge her? No, that the chat is correct. That would be considered double jeopardy. I mean, look at her. We went out to dinner and my mom took her. And she wasn't even, there's another lie that I remembered it, but now, a hot pink tracksuit. Girl, bye.
She was wearing a little hot pink tracksuit with a matching bow and little matching shoes. I was trying to protect my mom, maybe in hopes, she'd just tell them where Evelyn was, but obviously she's not going to. She's very sweet. She loves everybody. She's never been mean ever, which I'm very thankful for.
Please hold. I need to do this really quickly because this is just too much.
Shut up, Meg.
Megan, this still irritates me, even though Megan has been found guilty of first-degree murder, okay? But this still irritates it just goes all over me. It irritates me and angers me at a cellular level. And by that, I mean every single cell in my body is angry and irritated with Megan Boswell because she told people that Evelyn was, quote, mean as fuck. That's what she said. That's how she described her baby. Get out of here, Megan, with that baloney. Let me go check on the stream. We are still in recess, y'all.
She's just a really good-hearted baby in general.
You believe you know who has her. What do you have to say to them?
Just bring her back. I just want her back. That's all I want.
Well, Judge, as you know,
Mr. Scott, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. We need to bring the defendant in.
Because we're prepared with 2 witnesses right now. We have a witness still on the way. She's not far away, hopefully.
Right. Well, the state will go first, and then.
I don't think that's going to help much. We're going to draw it out.
Yeah, ask your questions really slowly so that we can get to this. No, Carol Bennett, they did not put Megan's mom on the stand as a witness during her trial.
Yeah, well, yeah, we talked about that.
Hey, Kathy, good to see you. I wish they would too, Melissa. Says, I really wish they would do a study on these women that are convicted of this. I do too, and I'll tell you why. I think they do need to be studied. Just so that potentially we can learn something about potential red flags, and we can, educate people. I'm a very firm believer in when you know better, you do better. And I do think as a society, if we could know better about this type of situation, maybe we could do better. Maybe we could teach people the red flags to look out for in, in the people that they know, to watch out, to see when, red flags to see the struggling. If there's a sudden and abrupt change in the condition in which you're seeing a child, right? That she goes from, a child that goes from being well taken care of. She's, the child is clean, that wears clean clothes, the home is clean, all of those things. And then suddenly that's not the case anymore. That's definitely a red flag. And I do think that people did see those red flags. And I will say there's only so much that you can do as a friend or a family member on your own. At some point, you would have to get the Department of Children and Family Services involved. You just have to. And I think many people are very reluctant to do that because they are always thinking, what if I'm wrong?
Everyone stand, please.
I gave it to you yesterday.
I did, Tracy.
Seated.
I did. I did hear about that. Thank you, Neat. All right, here we go.
Judge, stay with introduce it. I'm sorry.
You can do an opening statement if you would like to.
Okay. No, state doesn't need to do any opening statement.
Do you have an opening?
I do.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, although I may not agree with your verdict, I respect your verdict. I respect you. And I thank you for your time. And I have one more thing to ask you. You have to make a decision now, and that decision it's going to mean the difference. If you sentence Megan Boswell to life in prison, she'll be released when she is probably 69 years old. That'll be 8. She's been in jail. You probably realize she has been in jail since she was 18 years old. She went to jail February 25th of 2020, and she hasn't been released. So with that said, if you give her a life sentence, it would be 51 years. That's what I'm asking you to do. If you give her a life without sentence, she will never be released from prison. That's the difference. So it would be the difference between her being released at what I believe would be 69 to 70 years old or never being released. In doing this process, and Judge Goodwin will read you some very short jury instructions compared to what you heard yesterday. You look at statutory aggravating factors and mitigating factors. And in this case, the state will submit the age of the child as the aggravating factor. Our mitigating factors, we've listed several of those. They include no significant criminal history, her youth and age at the time the offense was committed. She was 17 when she had Evelyn. She was 18 when Evelyn died. You'll hear more about her unstable and chaotic home life. You'll hear from her mother, Angela Boswell. She's here today. You'll hear from Angela about domestic violence that Megan witnessed between her parents. You'll hear from Angela about drug use that Megan witnessed her parents engage in. You also hear about her schooling. It wasn't seamless, and how one of her primary role models was her grandfather, Tommy Boswell's father. He died when I think she was 11 or 12 years old. You'll hear that. And then finally, you'll hear a little bit about her younger siblings, Elijah and Charlotte. Elijah has a disability that Megan has looked after him and tried to help take care of him. And then you're also feel free to look at any other thing you've heard in the proof in making that decision as far as a mitigating factor. Anything else you've heard in all the proof from any of the witnesses. And also you'll probably hear from Gail Kite. You've heard from her once before, but you'll hear a little bit more from her about the shape Megan was in when she came into her home. And you'll hear from, we expect to call Mary Boswell. She is Megan's grandmother. I think most of you recognize the name Old Mommy at this point. You'll hear from her and what she witnessed and her participation in raising Megan. So it's a hard decision. It's not a light decision. You've made a hard decision already. And it's my hope that after you see this, you will come to the conclusion that maybe at 69 years old, it would be fair for her to be released from prison.
All right. General, proof.
Yes, Judge. At this time, the state would introduce a copy of birth certificate of Evelyn Boswell.
All right. That'll be Exhibit 262. I'm going to keep the exhibits in sequential numbers, but I've started a new sheet for the sentencing part. It'll be Exhibit 262. Any other proof, General?
No, Judge. Have the state address.
All right. Mr. Scott?
Could we call Angel Boswell? Angel Boswell.
Raise your right hand, ma'am. And state your name for me.
Angela Boswell.
You solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, ma'am?
Yes.
Have a seat. If you'll pull the microphone down and talk straight into that microphone. Actually, you know what? I need to switch these.
Ready to go, Judge? Ready. Ma'am, state your name for the record.
Angela Boswell.
You are Megan Boswell's mother?
I am.
Okay. Ms. Boswell, you know the purpose of being here today?
I do.
I want to ask you some about Megan's home life and growing up, but I guess I want to ask you first a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
And I'm asking you these questions, Ms. Boswell. I'm not trying to embarrass you or cast any aspersions.
No.
You married Tommy Boswell when you were how old?
First time 15.
Can you speak into that microphone just a little more, please?
The first time 15.
Okay. And when did you become pregnant with your first child with him?
I had my first in April and turned 16 in July. So,
Okay. And who was that child?
Tommy Jr.
Okay. And then you had Megan at some point. How old were you when you had Megan?
There's 8 years difference. I was almost 24.
It's okay. So let's talk about Megan's life growing up. Would it be fair to say that during her lifetime she's witnessed drug use between you and her father?
Yes.
What type of drugs?
Opiates, mainly.
Scoot up and speak into that so the jury can hear you.
Opiates, mainly.
Okay. Did that drug use lead to other problems?
Yeah. Arguments, fighting, yes.
Okay. You say there
Strife.
Strife.
Is what it brings, yes. Non-stop.
Is that something that went on pretty much her entire childhood growing up?
Yeah, from the time she was pretty little, yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Good. Now, did she witness fights between you and her father?
Yes.
Okay. I think at some point her father was convicted of aggravated assault and kidnapping.
Yes.
Were you the victim in that?
Yes. Mm.
Do you remember ever taking Megan to any NAAA meetings with you?
Yes, I did.
How old was she when you did that?
Let me think. She was probably about 7 or 8. First ones I started taking her to. 7 or 8, 8 or 9, somewhere around in there. Yeah.
Now she, due to the strife in your home, was she raised by her grandparents to some degree?
Yes.
Okay. What were their names?
Mary and Danny Boswell.
Okay. Mary Boswell, would that be who's known as a mommy?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
These problems, do you feel that it's partly your fault, the problems Megan's experienced?
No, absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Now, unfortunately, your problems, that they went on up into, we saw a video in here of you being brought down from the jail to talk with her in 2020.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So even up until the time she went to jail, you were in and out of jail.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I've been.
Have you been convicted of numerous crimes?
Yes.
Okay. Now, have you managed to straighten up at this point?
I have, yes.
You hoping to?
Yes, I pray every day and just, to do my best and try. I've learned the importance of a mother's role, but not for Megan, I didn't.
All right.
I failed her on that miserably.
And you're here asking the jury to give her a sentence of life as opposed to life without?
Yes. Yes. Maggie is, at her core, she is a generous, kind-hearted person. And through all Maggie's went through, Maggie still has potential. She was trying so hard. She didn't repeat my mistakes. Maggie learned from my mistakes. And she was trying to do better with Eve. She wasn't repeating. And I think she got saddled with, just because of my mistakes that she did. That was not it. That was not the case with Evelyn.
Would it be fair to say she didn't have a good role model for the mother she
No, no, she did not.
Okay. Answer any of Ms. Massengill or Mr. Harper's questions.
I don't have any questions, Judge.
Thank you,
Judge, at this time, I have some judgments of conviction on Tommy Boswell I'd like to put in by agreement with Mr. Harper.
No objection, Judge.
Okay. I'd ask these to be made the next 4 exhibits.
Mr. Scott, I want to enter the case number 61078 as exhibit 263, and the other 3 pages are 3 counts of the same case, so I'll make that a collective 264.
What is that case number, Your Honor?
62497. First page is 263, page 61078.
Hey, Trulia Beach, and welcome in everybody who's just joining us. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, Brandy, good to see you. I'm Grain and Scott, good to see you.
Gil Kite.
Good morning.
Kite.
It was KYTE, right?
I believe so, Your Honor.
I'll have her spell it. Just I think she was a witness in the trial, but I'll go back to that.
Raise your right hand and state your name for me.
Gail Kite.
Ms. Kite, you solemnly swear from the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, ma'am?
I do.
Have a seat. Speak into the microphone.
Ms. Kite, good morning.
Good morning.
Just so I make sure here, spelling your last name, is it K-Y-T-E?
It is.
And Ms. Kite, you've previously testified in this hearing as a state's witness, is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, thank you for coming back for this part of it. I know Ms. Boswell appreciates that. How long have you been working in foster care?
15 years.
Do you remember when Megan Boswell came to you?
I do.
Do you recall what kind of shape she was in or state?
She was in bad shape. She was one of the worst children that I'd brought in as far as neglect.
What do you mean by that?
She was very malnourished. She's very skinny. Her hair was matted to her head with lice. Impossible to even get a comb through.
Okay. Well, when she came to you, were you given any background? I imagine in foster care you're given background or information of where this child is coming from. Were you giving any of that?
I was.
And what were you preparing for?
In the intake papers, it mentioned trauma. It mentioned rape.
Did it give you any background or any information about her family background or makeup?
Not really.
Okay. Now, you said she came to you with lice. What did you do to try to help Megan?
Well, I took her to a beauty shop because there was no way to even begin to get a comb through. It was horrible. The beauty shop wouldn't touch it. They told me I offered to pay him $100 to go out back to cut her hair. And they said that they couldn't do it. Finally, the agency that we were with found a beautician that met me at a church that was willing to come in and give Megan a haircut. They gave her a bob, which looked really cute on her. But even after that we could get a comb through, it took close to 3 weeks, maybe a month, to get rid of the lice. Were just so bad. I had to get prescription medicine from the doctor. We got 2 bottles of that. I bought the comb that you run through that's supposed to kill the lice. And I know I practically traumatized the poor child because we'd go out on the porch and I'd run that comb through trying to make sure we got all the lice, and she'd sit there and tears would run down her hair. She got tired of me. It wasn't a pleasant situation. And then even when you do that, you still got to go through, you've got to thoroughly clean the bedding. Everything in the room has to be taken down, washed in hot water. But it was a rough time for her, very rough.
And you may have said, but she came to you how old?
She was 17 years old.
And she was pregnant.
17, pregnant, scared, didn't have a place to go.
And you believe that she had been raped or violently sexually assaulted. Were you given any background or information about her family, her mom and her dad?
I knew Mama was in and out of jail, and I knew her daddy owned a business.
Okay. Were you able to come to the opinion that she essentially came from a dysfunctional family?
I did.
Okay. And how long did she stay with you?
She stayed 4 months. When she came in, we got to work, got rid of the lice, got her registered for school. Where she was pregnant, she chose to do online schooling. She worked really hard getting her diploma. If a test didn't go right, she was on the phone the next day with the counselor getting it reset. I never had any problems trying to get her to do her schoolwork or anything. She hung with it.
Did she ever cause you any problems, disciplinary-wise or anything like that?
No.
Never?
No.
And did she seem to be thriving in a structured environment?
She did. She did.
Was she making friends?
She did.
Did she seem to be progressing and coming out of the state she was in when she came to you?
She very much so.
And she was with you for 4 months. Did you form a bond with her?
Oh, I did. We took up together immediately. It was during the winter. She learned me how to play card games. Winter days, we'd sit there and we'd play. Baby'd sleep. We'd play cards. But we formed a bond.
Did you take her to doctor's appointments?
I did.
How did she seem to feel about becoming a mother?
She was very excited.
Did you have conversations with her about that?
I did.
Did she seem to fully understand her roles and responsibilities of what was going to be required of her?
She did. Megan practically raised her younger sister Charlotte and her brother Elijah. She had plenty of experience with younger children.
How did you know that?
Well, mostly from conversations with Megan, and I could tell by the way she took care of Evelyn at the house. You know, she knew how to heat a bottle. She knew how to change the diapers. She got up when the baby cried.
Did you ever have to tell her to do those things?
No. Me and my husband never once woke up those 4 months when Evelyn woke up in the middle of the night. Megan would take care of her very well.
And I asked you, and I want to clarify that, if you ever took her to doctor's appointments, she was with you when she was with you. She came to you pregnant. Did you go to the prenatal appointments?
I did.
And did you go to follow-up appointments with Evelyn's pediatrician?
I did.
Okay. So you were involved through the whole process, really?
Those 4 months, yes.
Okay. At some point in time, was Megan taken from your home and placed back somewhere else?
She done trial visits to go back to Tommy's.
Okay.
There was a process in the foster care system.
I understand.
She done weekend visits, or at first it was just visits, and then it led to weekend visits.
How did she feel about that?
She seemed okay with it.
Eventually, was Megan placed back in the custody and care of her family?
She was. She went back to Tommy's house.
Tommy, you mean her father?
Yes.
Okay. And did you maintain contact with her?
I did.
How often?
We texted back and forth over it wasn't a daily time, but I want to say once a month, couple times sometimes couple times a week. It's just according to what was going on and what pictures she had took of Evelyn.
When you were talking to her, did you eventually learn that maybe things were kind of getting back off the tracks again?
I did. In April, I received a call from her foster care worker saying that Megan had been needed some help and would, even though she had was out of the foster care system, would I be willing to go and help her out? And I said, no problem. So I called Megan. She told me that her mother had dropped her off at a church. She had drove off and left her and Evelyn there. She had took Evelyn's diaper bag, the baby's supplies. So I told her I'd be right there. I went and picked her up. We went to Walmart, bought baby bottles, formula, diapers, the stuff that a baby would need.
Where did you take her?
We went back to my home. She spent the night. Her and Evelyn they took showers, a good night's sleep. But then the next morning, she wanted to go back to her mother's family's home.
Where's that at?
Now, I'm not sure. The place that I took, her grandfather was in the hospital, and she wanted to go there to meet up with her family. So when she left my home, I drove her to the hospital in Kingsport, and she assured me that she would be perfectly fine, and her and Evelyn got out.
It'd be fair to say that Megan wasn't getting maybe the familial support from her parents that she was needing at that time.
Yes.
Okay. I imagine over this time, Miss Kite, that did you ever meet Tommy Boswell Sr. or her mother, Angela?
I had never met Angela, but I'd met Tommy several times.
You said you agreed that she probably come from a dysfunctional family. Let me ask you this. She lived with you for 4 months and you stayed in contact with her after she moved out. It's your opinion, you know her, you talked to her. You think Megan ever knew what a normal family looked like?
No. No.
Did she crave that?
I think so.
Was she wanting that for Evelyn?
I think so.
Well, it's obvious why we're here today. You know why you're testifying. Are you asking this jury to just give her life?
I am, with the possibility of parole. This child has been traumatized. She's made bad mistakes that has to be paid for. But I think she deserves a chance to come back out to the real world. I don't think she's irredeemable. I think she can become a functioning citizen.
Ms. Kite, I thank you again. If you would answer any questions that the state has for you.
Nothing from the state judge.
Judge, we call Mary Boswell.
I'd like to take this opportunity to point out that a mistake is eating ranch when you know that you're lactose intolerant. Murdering a child is not a mistake. That's all. Rachel, you're not missing anything. The witness can only answer the questions that they are asked, and she was not asked by the defense during the trial about previous neglect. She wasn't asked about any of the stuff that they've asked her today, so she couldn't offer that information. She wasn't asked by the state, and she wasn't asked by the defense. I would also agree that at 17 years old, I spent 95% of my time grooming myself in some way, whether it was showering, makeup, hair, all of those things.
Ms. Boswell, I'm Gene Scott. How are you?
Pretty good.
We're here today because the jury's trying to decide how long Megan will have to stay in prison. I want you to, I guess, your name is Mary Boswell.
Not Mary Boswell.
Okay. How do you know Megan?
Sir.
How do you know Megan?
She's my granddaughter.
Okay. Are you Tommy Boswell's mother?
Yes, sir.
And obviously you've known Megan her whole life.
All of her life, I started keeping her from the time she was 2 months old till she was grown, off and on, not all the time, but off and on.
Why was that in part because of problems between your son and her mother, Angela?
Sir?
Was that because her parents were having problems?
No, she just loved me and her papa, and she stayed with us, and we loved her, and so we'd keep her a lot.
Okay. Were you aware of the violence issues between Tommy and Angela?
No, I didn't live in their home or nothing. I don't know nothing about what went on in their home, sir.
Okay.
We'd pick her up and keep her until she want to go back and like that, off and on.
Okay. And have you always lived down there on the same property Tommy lives on? Or?
I've now lived there for maybe 20 years, 21 or 2 or something like that.
She lived there almost all of Megan's life.
Yeah, yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. And you're aware, you told me, I think one of Megan's role models was your husband, your late husband?
Sir?
Your late husband, he was one of Megan's role models?
Yes, we loved her like she belonged to us.
Okay. And, when did he pass, ma'am?
11 and a half years ago. Soon be 12 this summer.
So that would have been when Megan was, I guess, what?
Yeah, maybe 12 years old or
12
something.
12 years old?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that take an impact on her?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And are you here asking this jury for leniency today?
Yes, sir, I am.
Asking them not to give her a sentence of life without parole?
I hope they don't, sir. I love her like I hope they don't give her the sentence like that. I'd love to give her my home if I could take her home today. That's how much I love her.
I understand. Thank you, Ms. Boswell. Is there any Mr. Harper or Ms. Masseyville?
No questions, Judge.
Ms. Boswell, thank you so much.
Okay, I'm leaving.
Thank you for going down there.
It's not subject to recall. You're welcome to stay in the courtroom.
Okay, thank you.
You approach.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have you go with the officer for just a minute. It won't take long.
Everyone stand, please.
Oh my, let's see. So we've heard from Angela, Gail, and Mary. And the defense
You may be
did
seated. Thank you.
say they had 3 witnesses, so not exactly sure what's happening here.
Megan, we've talked about this before. You understand you have a right not to testify.
Yes.
No one could force you to testify.
Yes.
We'll start this over since we didn't have the microphone up. Megan, you understand you have a right not to testify, and if you don't testify, the jury may not draw any inferences from that failure to testify. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Likewise, you have a right to testify. No one could keep you from testifying if you wanted to.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus,
After
is this the
talking
explanation
to
for the
court,
bow?
Talking about your case and hearing what's happened here in court and all the evidence, do you wish to testify or not?
No.
You do not wish to testify?
I do not wish to testify.
And Ms. Boswell, you're still under oath from yesterday or the day before. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any other proof? And before we bring the jury in, one thing that I forgot to do yesterday was when we excused the alternates, I took the contents of one of their books and the cover page, and I gave that to the court reporter, and that would be designated as Exhibit A, the letter A, for identification only, so that it's part of the record as to what those notebooks were that they took back. All right.
Oh. Well, this is interesting. What are we doing, Court TV or whoever's?
Judge, they would introduce it.
There we go. What happened? Somebody's over there pushing buttons that shouldn't be pushed. Oh boy. Let's see if they get this straightened out. She doesn't even have anything to say for herself. I'm still wigging out a little bit over here. What's happening? Oh, they got poor Mary Boswell going forward, backing up. Bless her heart. Oh boy. Who's in charge over there? Who's running this show?
Yesterday or the day before. You understand?
Oh, sweet Lord, have mercy. We're missing all of it because the camera person is too much.
Ready, Mr.
So pretend judge says her mom probably brought her court clothes today. I'm more surprised they let her wear a claw clip. It could be used as a weapon for sure. They'll probably take it away from her after all of this.
Okay.
My bad, Scott. You are correct. This is not the camera person. This is the producer. What are you doing over there, producer? There's technical difficulties. I'll say. Please stand by. Are they going to use, what are they doing? Either somebody's child has gotten a hold of the computer or somebody's cat. This looks like some shenanigans that Alice would pull, I got to say. Alice is not above messing with, back when I had my laptop, I would like go to make a video or whatever. You want me to go to the long crime feed? Let's look. I would go to make a video or whatever, and I'd make it, and I would be adjusting all of the, audio and stuff if there was music in the background, yada, yada, whatever. And then I would go and upload it and then premiere it. And on the premiere, I would be like, what is happening? And the sound would be all weird. And yeah, they're still having an issue over at Long Crime too. And I would go and, all right, I'll share this tab instead. Let's see.
And
what the heck?
Those.
This is the long crime feed. Scott. Hold on. Or trying to work on it. I mean, yeah, I actually think that the person on the end might be another bailiff. Uh-oh. We might have the culprit. Uh-oh. Sissy disappeared. Maybe she's causing mayhem and foolishness. Well, Sissy, if you can hear me wherever you are, please do not be causing mayhem and foolishness. We don't need it at this time. Well, yeah, because I believe that this is, they all get the same feed. So let me go over to this feed, the local news. The local news is just got on the same people that were talking about the verdict. Sorry, you guys, about the verdict, and they just have their newscasters on. See, I'll show you. See, that's who they have on. All right, let's go over here and see what Court TV is doing. No, Tracy, this was not on WebEx. This is, they have cameras in the courtroom. Yeah, I mean, hold on a minute. Let me go back over to Law and Crime. I'm not going to show Law and Crime's feed because, quite honestly, if that is, I can't. Okay, so when I make it, maybe if I rewind it, let me see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, they did. You're right. They did capture the jury. Oh, Jesus. All right. So, okay. When we were over back on before this happened, right before this whole situation, they were at the where were they? They were talking to the judge, and I heard the word screenshot. Now, what I'll tell you is this. The judge has one of the clerks or one of his court staff monitoring the live feed of this trial. Okay. And he has warned them and warned them. And I believe this is, yes, Carolina, to answer your question, Scott's correct. Proprietary information means information that belongs to someone and the proprietor has a right to keep it private. I believe that they're referring to the jury, that they showed the jury. And if this results, this is not technical difficulties, Court TV. Hold on a second. I want to look at something. Let me stop sharing this because I don't. Hold on a minute, because they're not. Court TV is not reporting what the issue is. However, someone is going to be in big trouble. They're talking about it over in Court TV's chat. The only reason I don't show Court TV's chat is because I think for me personally, if I were over there in Court TV, right, and I were saying whatever it is that, if I were chatting over there, I would just appreciate not being, my chat not, my comments not being restreamed to another creator's channel. Yes, Dr. B. Dr. B says, OMG, is this the same judge who went off on the reporter about the camera flash, or am I mixing up? He will call the firing squad if it's the same. Yes, it's the same one. Yep. This is a problem. A huge problem. I will say this. Nothing excuses what Megan did. And I want to be very clear about that. Okay? But here, I want you also to please, if you wouldn't mind, hear me out, because I'm not excusing it. I'm just trying to gain some insight into why these crimes occur. They're not right. Evelyn Boswell had the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as as a citizen of these United States, as well as other inalienable rights afforded to her, right? Both legally and ethically, morally. But something occurred to me when Meemaw Boswell was on the stand, and also when Angela Boswell was on the stand. The difference between when Megan was a child and when Evelyn was a child is that Tommy and Angela Boswell had parents who could step in and help when they were struggling, when they were, using opiates and fighting and fussing and, catching charges. Okay. Megan didn't have that. That's not an excuse at all. I just noticed that. I'm looking and I don't see anything on Court TV as far as, hang on just a second. Let me just keep checking what they're saying over there in Court TV. They still have their same poll up. Let me look at all chat. Let's see. They're all talking about the same thing, but as the chat is, but as far as there's nothing official from Court TV. The only message that they have pinned is coming up after the break, sentencing phase, life in prison with or without parole, possible victim impact statements. That's it. That's all they have. That's it. There's nothing new. Okay, now they have just updated. It says, update, our feed was shut down per orders of the judge. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't. But we all wanted to see Angela Boswell and hear what she had to say, and we did. Let's see. Let me see if they come back with anything. I mean, they might allow a compromise. The judge might allow a compromise in that they're allowed to stream the audio, but no video. I don't know. I'm reading their chat over there on Court TV, but I'm not listening to, I mean, I'm not taking, I can see it obviously, but I'm not going to report what the chat itself is saying. I'm waiting for official only word on from Court TV. I'm really curious. One of the things I'm curious about, and seems like law and crime or Court TV, the people in the Court TV chat are curious about, is Evelyn's biological father. And I feel like this is how I feel about who the potential biological father is of Evelyn. The name has been put out there. I don't really, to me, I think he deserves privacy. If in fact okay, let me start again. A name has been put out there as the potential biological father of Evelyn. There is nothing official that has been put out that can be verified. Let me say that. What I'll say is, I personally, for myself, I have no interest in trying to find out, other than if, for example, they were to if he were to come into court during sentencing and give a victim impact statement. That's the only way. I don't have any interest. I'm not judging anybody who does. My name's Paul. That's between y'all. Just for me personally, I cannot imagine how it would feel to be the father and find out that you are the father after your child has been murdered and at the hands of her mother. I just cannot imagine how that would feel. I think that if it were me, which it would, I would be, if it were me as a grandparent, right? Because not only does this person have, not only is the father, just finding out for himself, but his whole family would be finding out. And if it were me and I was the grandmother, I would want my son's privacy respected. That's just me, though. That's just me. I feel like this is, let me just, Kathy says, so glad I got to watch this case through your channel. I always learn so much from your coverage of cases. Thank you so much, Kathy, for the super chat. I appreciate that very much. I was really debating whether to read that now or read it later, because I don't know. I worry that it's in poor taste. Not that you sent it, but for me to have been speaking about the subject matter, not subject matter, to be confused with subject matter jurisdiction and then address the super chat. I don't know. I worry about so many things, saying, covering this cases like this on the, on the channel, because I try to be sensitive. Now, let me be very, very, very clear. I am not sensitive when it comes to the people who've been found guilty in these cases, okay? Particularly when it comes to children and especially when it comes to children and they're murdered at the hands of someone that they love and they trusted, okay? I'm not sensitive to those people. I don't give a rat's fat kneecap about their feelings. Now, I will say I'm sensitive to their family because it's not their family's fault, but to the actual perpetrator, I don't give a rat's fat kneecap. I don't care if somebody sends you every single thing that I've ever said on this channel about you and you are in the corner of your cell crying. Good. I don't feel bad. No regrets. But as far as, okay, here's from Court TV. The judge has ordered the cameras turned off for the rest of the sentencing phase. Please watch Court TV Live for more live updates. That's it. That's all, folks. There will not be any more sentencing phase. We're not going to hear live what happens. We will only hear after the fact, or I can see about, let me go over to, they suggested to go over live to Court TV. Let's go. Let's see. Go to their website. Hang on a minute. Let's see. Nope, that's not helpful. Let's see. Let's play this. See what this is. Maybe not. Are you going to let me click that or what's up? I'm just clicking watch live. Here we go. Let's see. There's a new trial being covered. It's called the Rose Petal Murder Trial, South Carolina versus Zachary Hughes. That's what's on. Let me see. All right, let me try something else. Let's try. All right. Let's search. It's all about her being found guilty, and her mother taking the stand. Also, just for some knowledge, the jury deliberated about 4.5 hours total. Let's see. Click latest. Let's see what Ainsley has said. Nothing. The last update that she gave was that Angela Boswell is taking the stand for the defense, which we already know. I guess what I'm gonna do is go ahead and end the live. I will when I'll keep checking for updates, and whenever there's an update, I'll let you guys know as far as what the jury ends up deciding. And I'm sure that there will be tweets and stuff from the courtroom about what happened. And I'll probably come live and talk about that tonight and give you guys a full upload or a full upload. Yeah. Full update on everything that's going on and what we, just my thoughts on it and all that. But at the end of the day, this is what I want to leave you guys with. Okay. At the end of the stream, not the end of the day, because I'll have more thoughts by the end of the day. But at the end of the stream, this is what I want to leave you with. While I am incredibly grateful that the jury, I believe, got the verdict correct. I do believe that Megan Boswell is guilty of first-degree murder. I do believe this was premeditated. I don't think it was premeditated for an extremely long amount of time, like weeks or anything like that. But based on the evidence presented at trial, specifically the interview that for employment at the Chicken Shack, where she had already told her employer that Evelyn was going to be with Ethan so she could work as many hours as he wanted her to. That wouldn't be a problem at all. To me, in my opinion, that suggests premeditation. The fact that Megan placed a blanket wrapped tightly around Evelyn's face, obstructing her ability to breathe, as well as a layer of many sheets of foil, I do believe that that was premeditated under the definition of the law. She certainly would have known, as her former foster mother testified to, that she basically raised her younger siblings. Certainly, she would have known that covering a child's face and mouth, their nose and their mouth, obstructing their airways would make it difficult for them to breathe. On top of the fact that she placed her upside down in the trash can inside of a trash bag. If she were alive, that definitely was a thought process. And it does make me wonder, it gives me pause, was she alive? And the reason she was placed upside down like that is to prevent her from being able to get out because she could walk. So I do think that the jury got that correct. However, it is a hollow victory in justice for Evelyn, because Evelyn is still dead. She was 13 months old when her mother murdered her. She was robbed. Megan robbed Evelyn of Evelyn's everything, all of her firsts, all of the good, all of, the negative that comes with growing up. Your first boyfriend, your first heartache, or your first girlfriend, your first heartache, all of those firsts, the first dance, first time to drive, all of it, graduating high school, going on to college, going to school for the first day, deciding whether or not she wanted to take ballet or karate or dance or all of those things. The first time she writes her name, all of it. Megan Boswell robbed Evelyn of all of those. But she also, and I say this all the time when it comes to children, what Megan Boswell did was rob the world of Evelyn Boswell's potential. Children, when they're born, have unlimited potential. Always. Everybody has unlimited potential. But children, you never know what they're going to do. You never know what they're going to be when they grow up and what they're going to bring to the world and to society. Evelyn could have come up with a cure for a childhood diabetes. Anything. The sky is the limit, and Megan, through her own actions and selfishness and just plain evilness, robbed Evelyn of that, and she robbed the world of that. And the only thing good that came out, and it's not even good, that would go on to benefit other children, because good is not the right word. The only thing that came out of Evelyn's death that would benefit other children is that it is now a law in Tennessee that failure to report your child missing within 24 hours is a felony. That's it. That's all. So, that I will leave you with. It's like, I'm glad that Megan was found guilty of first-degree murder. She will likely be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. I think that the aggravating factors in her crime far, far, far outweigh any mitigating factors that the defense might present. They could bring in Megan Boswell's kindergarten teacher who talks about what a great kid she was. I don't care. She made her decisions. Actions have consequences, good or bad, but it's still a hollow victory. It's not really even a victory. Anyway, I want to thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate it very much. If you haven't done so already, please give your girl a thumbs up, thumbs down, whichever you feel I deserve. I leave it to your judgment. I'll be back tonight. Oh, MK, let me update MK. MK sentencing was now. And the dadgum cameraman again, or camera person again, wasn't paying attention to what it was that they were doing, and they showed the jury. And I suspect those quote unquote technical difficulties that we saw, I'll check, let me look. Neat noodle real quick. I suspect that those technical difficulties that we saw was the judge reviewing the feed. Let me look. Out. Bruh. Stop talking. Hold on a second. Let me see. Why would... Let me see. I don't... Let me just look on my phone. Hold on a second. Who's messaging me? Come on, phone. Oh, okay. Let me look at TikTok. I'm not doing it from the computer because it doesn't work as well. Let's see. No. There are no updates on Tickety Talk for Megan's sentencing hearing. I suspect it's because we're all kind of left in the dark, as it were, with the whole situation. Listen, I just want to say this. I don't think that this is going to cause trials not to be streamed anymore. Okay. I will say this. I do think this will stop trials from being streamed ever again in this judge's courtroom. I think this judge is going to be like, nope. MK, I was thinking, and let me tell you guys, let me know how you feel about this. I was thinking that I would cover that trial of the kid in the trial was in Florida, but he initially murdered his father. He was accused of murdering his father. He was acquitted on that, and then because of evidence that came out, I guess during that trial, Florida charged him because his mother then was killed, and he said it was self-defense. I was thinking about covering that trial because that trial is actually quite interesting, and I'm really not sure how this kid did it. And I'm kind of curious what the details are surrounding those two trials, because it seems kind of crazy. So, yes, please don't tell me that Logan did anything. Yeah, we don't need to talk about Logan. Logan who? New phone who dis? So, oh wow. I know, yeah, I know who Trevor Lee is. I like Trevor. Trulia says, Bindi just saw a post on X, said cameraman was given 10 days in jail. Uh-oh. And that came from Trevor Lee that was involved in the Sebastian case at first. Yes. All right. Well, camera person. Bruh. I mean, didn't the judge say, I'm giving you one last chance? Which technically, he did that twice. Because he warned him once he warned everybody at the beginning of trial. Then he was zooming in. Yeah, he gave him one last chance of the one last chance. So that's are you asking me that, or are you telling me, horror host? Let me look. Let's see. I'm pretty sure I have an account with them, but I don't want the WebEx app. Let's see. I wonder how I do this. Hold on. I would need the link to that. Okay. Let me see. Hang on a minute. Let me look at something really quick. All right, I'm going to go there right now on their website, right? Not YouTube, I would imagine. Let's see. All right, got it. Alex. When you look at these mitigating factors, and it looks like they have submitted 11 mitigating factors.
Solution.
Back. Is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, Judge.
Defense ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
Let's bring jury in.
Everyone stand, please. You may be seated. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Scott, do you have any other proof?
Defendant rest.
All right. General, closing.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be pretty brief. This is obviously the second part of our trial, and the state only has to prove one additional element, the aggravating factor. And in your instructions, you will hear that the factor is if the murder was committed against a person less than 12 years of age and the defendant was 18 years of age or older. We submitted a copy of Evelyn's birth certificate, which will show that she was under the age of 12 at the time that this murder was committed. And it also gives Megan Boswell's birth date, which also proves that Megan was over the age of 18 at the time this was committed. You get to consider not just what was in this hearing today, but anything that you heard in the trial itself. You heard from a few witnesses today talk about Megan's childhood. You're going to get jury instructions on mitigating factors that the defense would like for you to consider. Things like how old Megan Boswell was at the time, Megan Boswell's childhood, the things that she witnessed, role models in her life, etc. But I'm submit to you that there are a lot of people who have hard childhoods. There are a lot of people who have babies when they're young, and those people do not kill their children. Those people do not wrap their children in blankets, in foil, and put them in a trash can upside down.
I don't know what the objection is about because literally that's exactly what she was found guilty of. And so why the defense is objecting on that is, I mean, she's been found and adjudged guilty. The end. The defense or the state can say that. Okay. I wonder if I can move this here. No. I wonder if I can make it. No, I can't make it smaller. I don't get what the BFD about the upside down part. That's exactly how she was found, and the jury said that's how she was found, and that's how and that she did it.
Look at these mitigating factors, and it looks like they have submitted 11 mitigating factors. I submit to you that lots of people have childhoods like the.
Before I forget, let me give a warm Ward shout out to Horror Hose for bringing this to our attention. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're the real MVP. You are today's good noodle.
And it had, but you heard from her own grandmother that her grandmother and grandfather were stability for her. And I submit to you that just because you have the childhood that you have, and of course we all, you included, have different life experiences, that does not make an excuse for what she did to Evelyn. The defense is telling you that Megan Boswell deserves life with the possibility of parole, which is essentially roughly 51 years in this state, which would mean that Megan Boswell could get out in her late 60s, I believe. I submit to you that Megan Boswell she doesn't deserve that chance. Does Evelyn get the chance when she's 69 years old to start her life again? She doesn't. Neither does Megan. We are going to ask that you continue to hold her accountable. The state has proven the aggravating factor that Evelyn was under the age of 12 years old and that the defendant was over the age of 18. We have proven that. And that is all the state has to prove. If you believe that the state has proven that beyond a reasonable doubt, we're going to ask that you return a verdict of life without the possibility of parole.
Thank you, General. Mr. Horn.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know the last
Hold
few
on a
days-
minute. I don't think you guys heard that because I had removed myself from the stream. Let me say it again. Thank you, Horror Hose, for becoming a member. I appreciate the support of me and the channel. You good noodle, you. Thank you so much. Welcome to the ward. All right, here we go.
And emotional for you. It's been emotional for everyone. That emotion really began 5 years ago. Not just for this case, but for our community. And it has had some dividing and rippling effects. You've been sequestered, you haven't seen those things, but we have. We've seen how divided this community is over this case. Perhaps that could last and go on for a long time. You spoke very loud today when you found Megan Boswell guilty. And I think it's time that we end all of this on the right note. You have a chance to do that. I don't, state doesn't, judge doesn't, you do. You can put the defining moment, the period of what people will remember about this case, and perhaps you as jurors, because you did find her guilty. And now you have a chance to do and show the one thing that's been missing for the last 5 years. That's grace and love. We have all, everybody in this room has failed in some way in their life. It may not have resulted in a criminal charge. It may not have resulted in going to prison. But we've done something. We've wanted compassion. We've wanted grace. We've wanted love. That's how you can end this. And that's how we can start to move on as a community. And you can show her what love looks like. Because you've heard how fractured and dysfunctional her family is. Mr. Scott told you in the trial, he didn't go through a lot of things in her life. I didn't either. But I knew my mom and dad loved me. They loved me to the end. My family now loves me to the end. I don't think she's seen what that looks like in her life. You're going to get a chance. Go back there and show her. You can tell her that she's redeemable. You can end it with grace and love. General Boswell told you about those mitigating factors. You'll get them in your jury instructions. Spare her life and give her life without parole. If there's anything good can come from this, is that we can all move forward, knowing that you got the verdict that you wanted, and you ended it with the emotion of love and compassion. That's what will be remembered. I hope that's what you did. Don't be remembered for just compounding the tragedy and the tragedy and the tragedy. So easy to do that. The lasting impression that you give Evelyn, that you give Megan, that you give this community, is that love and grace can still be found through all of this. And we ask you to give her life. And let her have a chance to come out one day. That's justice and flip. Justice for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. General.
Thank you, Judge. Please.
Okay, I just want to interject here briefly. All right. While we will never know the impact that the depth of Megan Boswell's childhood, and I would agree that she did have a difficult childhood. Okay. The issue with that for me personally is this. Megan has spent 5 years behind bars for this crime, okay? Initially, she was only charged with false reporting. And in that time, now, to be fair, we did have to skip a little bit of the hearing because due to the camera person's foolishness and showing the jury, part of the jury. But in that 5 years that Megan's been sitting in jail waiting trial, first of all, she pled not guilty to all of this. So if she didn't do it, then how are the mitigating factors at play? Because she still hasn't even admitted that she did what she did. So let's start there. All right. So none of these mitigating factors that the defense has put on, the circumstances, none of those have changed. Okay. Megan Boswell will forever have had a crappy childhood. All right. So my question would be, what has Megan Boswell done to heal from those circumstances? And what I'll tell you is the evidence that was presented in her sentencing phase, which is all that I can go off of, is nothing. She's continued to deny the allegation. She pled not guilty to every single charge in the indictment, every single one of them. She has never admitted that she was neglectful, which at the end of the day, look at that effing trailer that she had her child in. That's neglect. The clothes in the shed that all had that yellow brown stain in the diaper area, that's neglect. That's it. That's all. Let's see. We'll keep going.
Ladies and gentlemen, your job at this point.
Right after this. Hold on. I probably got in trouble. They probably weren't supposed to stream this. Hold on. Shit. Hold on. Let me see something. Bruh. Oh, I wish I hadn't pushed pause. I'm so sorry, you guys. Hold on. Let me see. Give me a second, you guys. See if I can find stuff. Don't leave.
So found, and you shall return your verdict upon the enclosed form attached hereto and made part of this charge. The verdict should be as follows. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has proven the following listed statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. Here lists the statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances found. You shall then indicate on the enclosed verdict form either we, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life without possibility of parole, or we, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life. The verdict must be unanimous and signed by each juror. I've got verdict forms for you. Okay. I have verdict forms for you, and I will read those. Verdict form, count 1. Punishment of imprisonment for life. We, the jury, unanimously determine that no statutory aggravating circumstance has been proven by the state beyond a reasonable doubt. We, the jury, therefore find that the sentence shall be imprisonment for life. Signature line, jury foreperson, signature line for each juror to sign. a date with a line. Verdict form count 1 continued. Punishment of imprisonment for life without the possibility of parole or imprisonment for life. We, the jury, unanimously find the state has proven the following statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. Check the box of any statutory aggravating circumstance or circumstances you find beyond a reasonable doubt. Check box. The murder was committed against a person less than 12 years of age and the defendant was 18 years of age or older. Below, check one box only.
Job will be to prove
Give Megan, that you give this community, that love and grace can still be found through all of this.
All right, I just want to make sure that we get to watch the whole thing. So I rewound it for you guys.
Come out one day.
We're about to hear from the
That's
state
justice
again
as
after
well.
this. Sorry about that,
Justice for
y'all.
everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. General.
Thank you, Judge. Ladies and gentlemen, your job at this point is to determine whether or not the state has proven the aggravated statutory aggravating factor that we alleged. And as General Massengill told you, that was simply related to the age of the child as well as the age of Miss Boswell. And clearly through her birth certificate, we have proven that aggravating factor. So then your job will be to weigh the mitigating factors that the defense has put on for you against that aggravating factor, which we have met our burden of proving. Mr. Horns asked you to end this case on the right note, and they would agree. You should end this case on the right note, and you should show Megan Boswell the same compassion and grace that she showed Evelyn. Evelyn wasn't shown any compassion. She wasn't shown any grace. You know, the one person that Evelyn should have been able to rely on to protect her, to keep her safe, abandoned her, discarded her. She doesn't deserve your compassion, your grace. The state asks that you weigh the aggravating factor that we've proven in this case, the fact that Evelyn Boswell, at the time she was dumped in a trash can, wasn't even 13 months old, never had a chance. We ask that you return a verdict we've requested of life without parole.
Thank you, General. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've got another set of instructions I've got to read to you. In the criminal court for Sullivan County, Tennessee at Boswell, State of Tennessee versus Megan Boswell, defendant. Case S72869. Jury instructions. Fixing punishment of life imprisonment or life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Members of the jury, you have now found the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of first-degree murder.
Do y'all want to hear all of the jury instructions, or how do y'all want to do it? Because Tracy's letting us all know that at 12:09 p.m. the jury is out and then it goes off. So I just wanted to make sure we got to hear. Oh, excuse me, you guys. I just wanted to make sure that we got to hear the final word from the prosecution. I just need to know what you guys and I will say this. I see that there's a bit of a debate going on in the chat, and I'm not intervening because you guys are all being respectful. You're not attacking one another. You're just voicing your opinions. And so I'm not going to, I'm not going to interject, but I will interject only to say that I appreciate that there can be a debate had because different people feel different ways. And I just want to thank you guys for being able to have this debate with each other and keeping it respectful. I appreciate that. Patricia, I think for me personally, what concerns me with respect to Megan is that she's not actually taken accountability. And you cannot, let me just to quote Dr. Phil, but I mean, this is his saying, but the principle is accurate. You cannot fix or change what you don't acknowledge. So if Megan Boswell doesn't acknowledge what she did, she cannot begin to fix it. And at the end of the day, I will agree that likely she had very poor parenting models. Okay. But my problem is, what has she done since then? She's been sitting in jail awaiting trial for the last 5 years. I haven't heard one iota of testimony that she has asked for, because it's a little different in jail versus prison, right? You don't have the same things available to you in jail that you do in prison, okay? But I mean, even if she's sitting there awaiting trial, right? And so her attorneys might advise her, don't join like group therapy or anything like that, right? Because you don't want to, you know, you're pending trial. You haven't been convicted yet. She could have asked for books about parenting or any type of, read books about, healing from childhood trauma, etc. And it seems to me that she has not done anything to improve the circumstances. And that's scary to me, because when you don't, moving forward, if she's given a chance and yet she's not done anything, that it doesn't bode well for letting her out. Now, I will admit that a lot things can change between now and 51 years from now, when she would be eligible to even apply for parole, which doesn't mean she would actually get it. But again, she's taken zero accountability. She won't even admit that she's guilty of neglect. And I think that at the end of the day, that's clear that she was neglectful. I don't really care why she was neglectful. She was neglectful. Period. And she's done nothing to try to take accountability for that, to try to change that, to try to break the cycle. So in my opinion, when somebody isn't willing to A, acknowledge what they've done, and then B, do the work to fix it, why would I want them running loose in a free society? And and I know that the argument is she'll be like 69 years old. Who's the little elderly woman who was the serial killer in the Midwest or wherever it was, where she used to take in boarders and she would have them sign over their Social Security check to her, and she was cashing their Social Security checks long after they were dead? Dorothy something. Why can't I remember that? So at the end of the day, Dorothy, was it Dorothy Signer? Is that who I'm thinking of? But she was a little old lady. She killed, she's a serial killer. She killed multiple people. And she started killing multiple people when she was older. So to say that, oh, well, she's going to be 69 years old or whatever, she'll be safe, be fine, she's not a threat. Incorrect. So let's be nice to each other in the chat, please. Sadie, just type in exclamation point email, and Nightbot will give it to you. And yes, let me second what Neat Noodle has said. This group is made up of many opinions, but we are all kind, caring individuals. I'm sure we can respect one another. There is room for everyone here. There is absolutely room for everyone here. I hope Patricia didn't leave, because at the end of the day, Patricia is entitled to her opinion and she expressed it respectfully. So if you have a differing opinion, have a differing opinion. I don't, we don't have to think alike. This ain't an echo chamber. Have you heard my voice? I don't need an echo chamber. Okay. At the end of the day, she's entitled to her opinion and she expressed it respectfully. And if you have a differing opinion, you're also entitled to that opinion as long as you respect it respectfully. I encourage the debate. I just don't want I don't want anything. I don't want ugliness in here. Come on. Like, we deal with enough ugliness in the cases that we cover. Okay. So let's all just, we don't have to get along, but at least be respectful to each other. And that's all. I'm going to leave it there. So let me see what else is going on. I think that's it. Now, I don't actually know. Obviously, I'm going to keep it on this channel. Let me open it in a different window and see what happens. Hold on. Because just give me a sec, you guys, because I'm going to try to see if I can give me just 1 minute real quick. What is this? Hold on a second. Give me just a sec, you guys. I'm looking at something. Hang on a sec.
Signature line, jury 4-person, signature line for each juror. Date, signature, blank. And the same exact form verbatim for counts 2 and count 3. Take the case, consider all the evidence fairly and impartially. Complete one of the 2 forms for each count. And report your verdict to the court. All right. Go with the officers.
Everyone stand, please. You may be seated. Thank you.
All right, jury's out at 12:09 p.m. to consider sentencing. This court will be in recess, waiting the verdict of the jury.
Court stands in recess.
Okay, so while the let's see, let me go over here. Hold on a second. Because I wanna I'm trying to find, here we are. Here. All right. What I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna end the stream, and then I don't know what to do. How do you guys want to do it? I mean, I can leave the stream up. I just can't. I got stuff that like, hold on a minute. Let me turn this down. I just have stuff to do, but I can be like watching. Like I can leave it up. You guys can be in here chatting, but I don't, in here chatting requires a moderator who wants to sit in here and monitor you guys because I have stuff I have to get done today and I don't know what to do in case, like, I'm worried that they're going to, take, 32 minutes and then be back. You know what I mean? Like, I'm worried about that. What do you guys think? And also this. Sometimes these cases can bring up tough issues of our own. Please be kind to yourself and our friends in chat. Yes. You guys, we all come from different places. We all have different experiences, which is what gives us our different opinions. And I think those differences should be celebrated. But I will say the one thing that we all have in common is that well, obviously two things. We all like true crime. We all follow true crime, but more importantly than that, at the core of all of the reason that we follow true crime is because what we really like to see is justice for the victims. And that means a lot. Yes, we have different opinions on what's the appropriate sentence for Megan. And they're all valid. This trial has been something else. Like we've heard and seen a lot of tough things. My daughter just came in here and she was asking me what's going on. And I was telling her that Megan was found guilty. And she said, good, because she hasn't followed this case. And I talk to her about it every once in a while, but anyway, she said she had just seen a video on TikTok and they showed the little PJs. And she said that was enough for her. She doesn't know how I do this. So, it's so sad. The whole thing is so sad. And remember, the monster here is Megan Boswell. The victim here is Evelyn. So if we could all direct our frustration and anger towards Megan, who actually deserves it, and not each other, that'd be fantastic. Neat says that she can stay for a while. It's up to you guys. Do you want me to? I'll share the channel that says that they will be right back if you want, while we wait for, well, I won't be sharing it like that. While we wait for the jury's decision. I would be more than happy to do that. It's up to you guys. I appreciate that. What am I clicking over here? I appreciate that, Neat. Let's see. They do have some rather interesting hold music. It's not the best hold music. It's not any bangers, but it's not the worst hold music either. So I'll just I'll do what I need to do. I'll show this on the stream. I'll turn on the sound for y'all, and you guys can continue to chat, and I'll keep an eye on it. And if it goes much longer than, say, an hour from now, I'll end the stream, schedule a sentencing watch, and go live when the jury returns. I don't know if they'll stream it though, because obviously. All right, here we go. The Muzak version of, sounds like a John Denver song, which I'm not casting aspersions towards John Denver. I do like some of his music. All right. Yes, MK, this song inspired Megan's outfit today. I'll tell you what, I'm going to end the stream. I will just keep this link, I put it in the chat, up, and I'll go live whenever there's any news. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great rest of your day. Y'all behave. Be nice to each other, and I'll talk to y'all later. Yeah, let's put MK in charge. If we put MK in charge, it would be a lot of fun. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.